Good evening, I'm Larry King, the host of Larry King Now on Aura TV via Hulu. But tonight we're coming to you under the auspices of YouTube. And as we did last week at the Republican convention, we will do tonight and tomorrow night following the Democratic convention. We'll also follow all 4 debates and then a major program on election night, and look for a major announcement concerning election night. You'll be hearing about it sometime within the next couple of weeks, but it really is super. I'm also asked to tell you that if you're watching us now on YouTube, which you have to be, you'll see below you a button. You can hit that button, and if you do, you will subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get emails and get videos and all sorts of things. Let's meet our panel. Back with us tonight and again tomorrow night, Ben Stein, the best-selling author. His new book coming out soon is titled How to Really Ruin Your Financial Life and Portfolio. Ben, there's no one like him. Ben Stein worked as a speechwriter for Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. Tanya Acker, who is normally with us here in studio, is in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll meet her in a couple of moments. She attended the convention tonight, the Democratic strategist. Thank you, Ben. It's been a long night. And Rachael Harris comes back with us. She was with us in the old days at CNN, comic actress. She was at the Republican convention as well in Tampa. And here in our studio is David Begnaud. David will be tracking social media, what's being said about the Democratic convention, what's being asked on Facebook. He'll also moderate our panel of current students and recent graduates from the UCLA's Department of Political Science. They'll offer questions and comments. Ben just said to me something interesting for a Republican, that this is what, the best convention speech?
I think it's the best convention speech I have ever seen. Now, I'm old, so I remember a speech in '56 by Frank Clements from Tennessee. It was an incredible speech.
Cuomo in '84.
This, I think, was the best convention speech I've ever seen. I mean, it's extremely mendacious in many regards, and the idea of Bill Clinton lecturing us on morality is almost comical, but it was a brilliant, overwhelmingly powerful speech.
What did you make of it, Rachael?
Oh, well, I mean, I know that he went over, but I could listen to that man go for 3 hours because he's clear, he's concise, he's to the point. I thought it was amazing. I think right now the DNC is killing it as far as the speakers that they've had with
Why did
Michelle
we
Obama.
think, Ben, that you thought he was never going to stop?
Well, he went on for a very long time. He was obviously enjoying himself. I don't think I've ever seen a person who is not clearly under the influence of drugs who is as happy as this man was. I mean, he was intoxicated by the sound of his own voice. He was intoxicated by the response he got from the convention. He was in hog heaven. This guy was really, really happy. I mean, I wonder if he's considering, I mean, everyone says, oh, he's to set up for Hillary. I think he's allowed by the Constitution to run again himself. You just can't have more than 2 consecutive terms. I think he can run again himself.
No, we were just sitting here saying, I was like, I vote for Clinton. Like, I just want him anywhere near.
Well, every poll says that if he were running, he would win this thing.
I'm sure he would. He is a very powerful speaker. I mean, people have forgiven him. America is an incredibly forgiving country. He committed incredible, unbelievable sexual indiscretions in his office, the office of Abraham Lincoln and FDR. People have forgiven him. America is a great country with a great heart. And he is an unbelievably powerful speaker, and I just wish the Republicans had somebody like him.
And he'll be campaigning throughout the next...
Oh, he's going to be devastating.
All right, what's the word? What are they saying on the social network, David?
Larry, they absolutely love Bill Clinton, as your guests have alluded to, and would love to see more of him. The first person tweeting 41 minutes ago, democracy does not have to be a blood sport. It can be an honorable enterprise that advances the national interest. Interestingly, Mitt Romney, the Republican candidate, tweeted about Barack Obama prior to Clinton's speech. His policies are hurting our nation's small business, and a second term won't be any different. The conservative commentator Monica Crowley tweeting tonight as she watched Bill Clinton, nobody shovels it better than Bill Clinton. And she used the hashtag War on Truth. Jared writing, this is why people love Bill Clinton. He knows how to talk to people. Gene also weighing in saying, at Democratic convention, Americans want fiscal responsibility. Wasn't the deficit supposed to be cut in half by now? Also, this person weighing in, this is what a senior statesman looks like, of course, talking about Clinton. I want to talk more about Clinton with our UCLA students who we are so excited to have here tonight. They are all political science students. This is Elizabeth. For you, Bill Clinton was a home run for a lot of reasons. Why?
Yes, I love Bill Clinton's speech. I think one important aspect was that he directly answered the question, are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? Do you feel that the Democrats have convinced apprehensive voters that the answer to that question is yes.
Ben?
Well, I'm going to lob a hand grenade into this right now and tell you that as I watched this convention, and remembering a few days ago watching the Republican convention, I thought I was watching two different countries. The Republican convention was an entirely different kind of people. It was almost all white, almost all blonde, almost all well-coiffed, almost all looking quite happy and calm and peaceful. This was a very, very racially diverse group. People had all different kinds of hairstyles, all different kinds of dress, and just totally different people. I think Bill Clinton will convince those people, and I don't think he will convince the Republicans. I would be surprised if there were one Republican in America who has moved to vote for Obama by this speech, but I think he will energize the base, and if the Republicans had somebody half as good as Bill Clinton, they could energize the Republican base.
You think it's an uphill fight for Romney, right?
Oh, very, very, very uphill.
Rachel?
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think that women will decide the vote. And right now, having Sandra Fluke come in and then Bill being so supportive and pro-woman, it was really, I think the Romney campaign does have an uphill battle.
Well, but I mean, I'm always kind of bemused when you say the or you or any other Democrat says the Republicans are anti-woman.
Independent.
Okay, independent. They're anti-woman. I mean, the Republicans there are lots and lots of women who think the Republicans
Did I say that
are
they
just.
were anti-women?
Well, I think you said that the Democrats are pro-woman. Does that?
I don't think I said
imply-
pro or anti. I just
I think
said.
you did say pro.
I said Sandra
Well,
Fluke.
the question comes to choice.
Well, okay,
right?
the question. There are plenty of women who think the Republicans are pro-women because Republicans are in favor of right to life, and there are a huge number of women who are in favor of right to life. So when you say that when there's all this talk by the Democrats about the war on women, it's not a war on women. It's a war for life. It's a war for protecting the lives of unborn children. So that's really what it's about. It's not a war against women.
Tanya Acker will join us now from Charlotte, North Carolina. Normally she's with us here in studio. Tanya is a Democratic strategist, attorney, and commentator. She worked on the 2004 Kerry Edwards campaign. Tanya, what was it like on the floor?
It was really exciting. I mean, Larry, I can't say enough. By the way, Ben, the Democrats here, we're very well coiffed too. People are looking good. But beyond that,
Well, you
beyond
are.
that, I adore you. But there's such an energy here. You know, we've heard a lot of talk before the convention about how this Democratic election year, people aren't as excited, they aren't as fired up. But that crowd is really, really excited right now. I mean, everybody knows, Republicans know, Ben knows that Bill Clinton can energize a room like nobody's business. And what's really interesting is that he didn't make up facts. He didn't pull things out of his hat like, oh, Mitt Romney closed a GM plant that he didn't really close, or Mitt Romney was responding. You know, all he did was recite real facts. And I think that is how Democrats are going to win this election. It's about presenting facts in a compelling way that's clear and understandable. I mean, I noticed the Monica Crowley comment. Ironic that somebody who may have been responsible for trying to fix Justice Department hiring is trying to critique Bill Clinton for telling the truth. But notwithstanding all that, you know, he did. There is not, I would defy Ben, Monica Crowley, any GOPer out there to find a fact that Bill Clinton made up. All he did was speak about facts, and I think that that's how Democrats win this election. They need to talk facts.
Hold it, Tanya. All right, go ahead.
Well, I can tell you some things he didn't say that were incredibly important. He didn't say that Mr. Bush 43 inherited the worst stock market crash since the Great Depression, coming from the administration of President Clinton. So they didn't mention that. I mean, Republicans don't just take good situations and make them bad. President Bush rescued that situation. He didn't say that what stopped the Depression, which would have happened, we would have had another Great Depression, was TARP, and TARP was passed during the Republican-Democrat brief honeymoon of cooperation, and it was a bill introduced by Republicans and Democrats. So that wasn't all Obama.
I think that's right.
George Bush started the thing to help the auto industry, right?
And George Bush started the thing to keep the auto industry
Obama
alive.
picked that up, but many Republicans opposed it.
And that was a catastrophic mistake by the Republicans. And I think if you follow this, what Mr. Clinton said that was extremely on target was there is a faction within the Republican Party that just is not really in touch with reality, and unfortunately, that is a very powerful
But he also
faction.
called, did he not? He called for conciliation. He called for working together.
Yeah, but I mean, to call for that on behalf of Barack Obama, who completely shut the Republicans out of the health care debate and did that sort of in the dead of the night, that's a bit far-fetched.
All right. This is going to. Do you think this will ease the vitriol of this campaign?
No,
or
I
spark it more?
don't think it's going to ease the vitriol. And I would say to my brilliant friend Tanya Acker, whom I miss having her sitting next to me. Not that you're not.
Oh no, I'm a delight. I know. I know.
Is that there? How many people were in that room? Do you think 10,000, 15,000, 20,000?
Probably.
I think that it holds 20,000.
Okay, there are 310 million in America. So the fact that this one room was fantastically energized doesn't tell us a lot about the state of the economy or state of the election or the state of the political process
Convention
generally.
crowds never give you the total
Right,
picture.
No,
And they're
exactly right.
But he
Fair
wasn't
enough.
talking to them. He's talking to
I agree.
And we talked about this.
we will.
He's talking to the people at home.
We will see how the bounce lasts. I'm sure he'll get a bounce. There's no doubt in my mind he'll get a bounce. We'll see how much the bounce lasts. But I just don't see how Obama can be beaten. I mean, with all due respect,
You're the
Mr.
Republican.
Romney, I'm trying to be a realist.
You're going to vote for Romney.
Of course I'll vote for him, but I don't see how Mr. Obama can be beaten. He's just too slick.
David.
Larry, celebrities are using Twitter tonight to actually use this as a call to action to get young voters involved. Actor Zach Braff is actually at the Democratic National Convention. He tweeted, "Young folk of Twitter, are you paying attention to this election? Now is a super assy time for apathy." Actress Olivia Wilde tweeting tonight, "Bill Clinton speaks the truth. No president could have fully repaired all the damage that he found in just 4 years." Mike Madden weighing in, "Bill Clinton's improvising on live television is pretty much the reason they should keep having political conventions." And Dan Spencer saying, "Unprecedented, this will be the first time an impeached president gives the nomination speech." An interesting thought. Let's go back to our students. I want to bring in Kenneth. Kenneth is a senior, wants to become a lawyer, wants to go to school. You wanted to hear more about education tonight, or at least in the last couple of days, and you haven't. Disappointing?
A little bit, yes. My concern is that education hasn't been covered in either convention very much, and in my opinion, I feel that the Democrats hold a clear advantage over the Republicans. The reason I believe this is because Mitt Romney supports Paul Ryan's plan, which would cut $2.7 billion in Title I funding to schools that serve low-income
Are you
students.
saying that you think the Democrats should have jumped on that tonight,
I
and they
definitely
didn't?
think so, and I'm wondering why they haven't done so.
Have a thought?
Well, I think the Republicans know and the Democrats know that by and large, the Democrats have the student vote sewed up, and that's going to be very hard for the Republicans to take away from them. I don't think he talked a heck of a lot about student loan repayments, an awful lot. I could barely understand it, but he talked an awful lot about it. And so I think they've committed themselves to giving lots of money to the students. I mean, they've committed themselves to indenturing the working people of America for the students.
We'll get back.
Don't become a lawyer. I'm going to give you great advice. It's not a good job.
Before we get back to Bill Clinton and the Democrats, a thing happened earlier this afternoon that could a little embarrassing to the Democrats. The party reinstated language from the 2008 platform that said, "We need a government that stands up for the hopes, values, and interests of working people and gives everyone willing to work the chance to make the most of their God-given potential." The Democrats had apparently taken the word God out, and then, according President Obama called them and said, put it back in. They put it back in, and there was a vote, and then there was a split over the vote. Apparently, they needed 2/3. We'll show you in a minute what the mayor of Los Angeles, who is chairing this convention, said. They also put back in, the Democrats had previously taken no stand on Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. They had taken the stand to let the Israelis work it out with the Arabs. The Republicans have always stood that Jerusalem is the capital. Anyway, let's go to earlier today when Mayor Villagrosa and his call to the delegates to get a vote on this. Watch.
All those delegates in favor say aye. All those delegates opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 have voted in the affirmative. The motion is adopted, and the platform has been amended as shown on the screen. Thank you very much.
Interesting vote counter.
Well, it's an interesting vote counter, but it's a very interesting thing. I'm glad you brought it to our attention because I'm sure Mr. Obama does not want the Democrats to be thought of as the party of atheists. So
I know.
I think they made a big mistake there.
Yeah.
What are they saying over there, David?
Larry, it absolutely blew up on Twitter when it happened this afternoon. A lot of people felt like the mayor here from Los Angeles made the wrong call, that actually the nays were in the majority. We reached out to a delegate who's actually at the convention who tweeted this right after it happened. He said, if anybody wants to ask why we really booed, ask me. It wasn't anti-Israel or anti-God. So we tweeted him back and we said, okay, well then tell us why. He responds with, we booed because I don't want something that is likely to incite diplomatic nightmares into our party platform. And then he went on, we also booed because I don't like the idea of giving in to right-wing criticism of our platform. Since that happened today, it has been the biggest thing trending on Twitter. Thousands, tens of thousands of tweets coming in. Ari Fleischer, the former press secretary at the White House, weighing in saying, a railroad just passed through the floor of the Democratic convention. No way that was a 2/3 vote. Jim Hughes weighing in, hey, DNC, God called. He read your platform and he doesn't want to be put back in. Also, Ann Coulter, the always feisty one, weighing in, if I were the RNC, I would put a tape of the Democrats' God vote on a commercial and broadcast it nonstop for the next 2 months. I want to bring in another college student. This is Elizabeth. Elizabeth, that was something that really resonated with you today. I know you were following it. What was your reaction?
Yeah, my opinion was just there was so much talk today at the convention when they were interviewing the Democratic leaders, and they were mostly saying, oh, you know, it was just a technical problem. Of course we wanted God to be in there. Of course we recognize Israel, Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, but how can they credibly claim that, and how can they convince the American public that they support the state of Israel when the vote to amend it on the floor was by no means a sweep for the yeas?
Okay, Ben?
I'm just going to go back to what I said a moment ago. I think this is probably one of the most embarrassing moments the Democratic National Convention has ever had. And there are plenty of atheists at the convention, but in this country generally, atheism is not a popular point of view. And I think Ann Coulter nailed it. The Democrats have been pretty wishy-washy about Israel ever since Obama took over. And although there are people like your friend Haim Saban who say the Democrats are very good for Israel, there are an awful lot of people who say they're not. And in our neighborhood, where there are lots and lots of Jews, I don't think people like Mr. Obama at all.
But he'll win the Beverly Hills vote.
I don't think he will in our part of Beverly Hills.
You don't?
No, I
well,
don't.
Haim Saban is very prominent.
But he
Jewish
doesn't
American.
live in Beverly Hills.
He wrote a very strong op-ed piece today in the New York Times supporting the fact that this administration has been very pro.
Well, he's a big Democrat.
Yeah, but he's more Israelite than Democrat.
I wonder.
I know him.
Can we call him?
He's a pronounced.
Let's call him. Let's call him and find out.
What do you make of this hullabaloo?
Well, I think that honestly, Larry, I blame the acoustics in the room.
That was very good.
No, thank you.
That was very good.
Good that I've done my job. Good night.
That was very
Thanks
good.
for having me.
That was very good. That was very good.
Tanya, you were on the floor. Tanya Acker, did you boo or yay?
I have to just say a couple of things. One, I won't say this to Ben because he's Jewish, but Ann Coulter needs to take a meeting with Jesus. Because if you want to talk about speaking about God publicly or whether or not that should be private, Jesus actually said that our prayers and our religious devotion should be private. It's not about getting on a platform and proclaiming how faithful you are or how Christian you are or how religious you are. And so I think that there are a lot of people who may have opposed putting God in the platform, not because we're atheists, and frankly, I don't care one way or another, frankly. I mean, I believe in God, and whether or not it's in a party platform isn't going to make my belief any more or less valid. But I think that there's a real constituency in this country that believes that these public shows of beating our chests and talking about how Christian we are, it's really sort of off-putting, and it's not very sincere. On the subject of Israel, I would again point out that I get that a lot of people don't believe or don't think that Barack Obama has been a supporter of Israel, but simply because you say something over and over again doesn't make it true. Obama sold Israel bombs, bunker-busting bombs that George Bush wouldn't sell Israel. Obama, the president, has been a good defender of Israel. Has he perhaps said and done everything that the Israeli government would like on time and been on and stepped in tune with them at every moment? No, probably not. But that doesn't diminish the fact that he has been a great supporter of the state. And simply repeating the fact that lots of Jewish folks don't believe that doesn't mean that there's some validity to those suspicions.
Well, it is an absolutely unquestioned fact that he humiliated Netanyahu. That's unquestioned, and nobody disputes that. It's unquestioned that he sold the Israelis some equipment that Bush wouldn't sell them. It's also unquestioned that he humiliated Netanyahu.
We're always fair on both sides.
Oh, well, fair.
You don't have
That's
to
not fair enough.
love that you can not like Netanyahu and be pro-Israel. Right?
But he humiliated Netanyahu as the representative of Israel. He didn't humiliate Netanyahu as a fashion plate.
Just to clarify, who is Netanyahu?
The prime.
I'm kidding.
That's very funny.
kidding.
You're a little too
are
funny for us.
so
You're a little
nuts.
too funny.
I think
for us.
I don't believe you.
You're too funny for us. You're
he's
too funny.
totally-
Back to our students.
Sarah, I mean, Larry, again, this is all people have been talking about until Bill Clinton started speaking tonight. It's all they were talking about on Twitter. Sarah and Barbara, Sarah, you are a freshman. You were talking to me about it earlier tonight. You disagree with Ben Stein? Why?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that atheism may not be a popular viewpoint in the United States, but I don't think that it matters at all. I don't think that either party should have God anywhere in any of their platforms, because that's simply not what our founders wanted. They did not want our government to endorse any religion, and I believe that by putting God in there, they're endorsing Christianity, and that should not be in our platform. So my question is, I mean, is that just another example of our country moving further away from factual politics and moving away from the Constitution?
Well, the founders talked endlessly about God. I don't know where you got the idea.
They didn't put him in the Constitution.
But they put he's in the Declaration of Independence. The founders talked endlessly about God. They did not want any particular sect of Christianity to dominate America, but they took it for granted that America was a Christian country, and that was taken for granted for more or less indefinitely.
Well,
until
you're
recently.
Jewish, right?
Of course.
You consider it a Christian country?
Absolutely.
You live in a Christian country.
We're in a predominantly Christian country that respects the rights of all religions, but the population is predominantly Christian, without question. There's no doubt about that. I mean, do you question that?
I think we live in a republic.
I mean, maybe,
Predominantly Christian population, no doubt about it.
Well, I'm not nearly as, I'm not going to pretend to be as schooled as you all are, but I agree with you. As a student, I'm confused by it as well, because I thought there was a separation of church and state.
There's a separation. The founders said they didn't want any particular sect, like Congregationalists or Presbyterians or Baptists, or the Anglican Church, as in England, to control the state. They never, ever, there's nothing in the founding documents saying we don't want to have any connection between God and the state, or God and the people who run the country.
But if I'm a Muslim and I come to America to start a family and have a business, the way that I took it was that we're very accepting of all these different religions. But I don't have to.
We're extremely accepting. Nobody says.
But if I were
says
listening
we're
to
not.
the Romney campaign, I would feel like something was wrong with me, or that I didn't connect with that party because of the way that Christianity. If you saw Janine Turner give her speech at the RNC, she said, the government doesn't give us our rights, God gives us our rights. Well, if you believe in Allah, or if you believe in something else, maybe I sound incredibly naive, but that would be a problem for me.
I could be wrong about this, but I think Muslims believe that Allah is God, and so
it's just a different name for
God is called by all kinds of different names. But Muslims in this country, I hope, have the same rights as everyone else. I assume they do.
How much will this carry in the race? Will this have legs?
I don't think so.
I think it's got great legs. I think everybody
What do you
understands that. No, I was kidding. I was making a joke that I had really
her
silky
jokes
smooth.
are too clever for
They're not. You're being really
clever.
You're being mean. But but I think that if they do what Ann Coulter, who is the genius of the Republican
she is a
base,
genius.
she is very smart, but I find her extremely. I'm not even going to go there. But I think that if you are right, if they did that, it would have a dramatic effect, I think.
Okay, we now have with us in New York Jonathan Zogby. That's a very famous name in America. Founder of the Zogby poll. First, Jonathan, thanks for being with us. And second,
where is Jonathan?
Did Mr. Romney get a big bounce out of Tampa?
He did not. In fact, he got whatever bounce he got after he announced Paul Ryan as his running mate, and he got a bump from a 4 or 5 point deficit to a tie, and then the tie has been maintained. My poll at the start of the GOP convention had it all tied up at 46. At the end of the GOP convention, it all tied up at 44, tied to the 0.1%, Larry.
All right, Jonathan. Do you start polling right now, right after the Clinton speech, or do you wait till tomorrow night?
No, we'll wait until the convention is actually over. So we'll go in the field on Friday. You know, give it a chance to gestate a little bit.
You grade the president's week and how it affects his re-election chances. Where do you the polls are equal, but people say that the Democrats are leading in the states that will bring them the electoral victory.
Yeah, the leads are not by much. You know, if you look at Florida, most polls do have, in fact, the president leading in Florida. Arguably, that's enough. You know, Real Clear Politics suggests that the president has either 221 or 239, depending on Michigan, electoral votes that are fairly safe. He's leading in Florida. If he maintains that lead, he's within 2 or 3 electoral votes. And it means there's a lot of pressure on Romney then to really run the table on most of the other states.
Jonathan, is this an election where people are more against the other person than for their person?
It had been that way, Larry, until just a couple of weeks ago. And now I should say, certainly in terms of after the GOP convention, we are finding that more Republican voters or more Romney voters are saying that they're voting for Romney. Prior to that, about 40 to 45% of those voting for Romney were saying that they mainly were voting against Obama.
What about breaking it down now in groups? Young Americans. Romney picked up there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did for a while, but that seems to have subsided. In my last poll, I have Obama leading 54 to 33, which is good, but not good enough. He won 66% of young people. I think what Obama should be worried about among young people are those who tell us today that they're undecided. I don't think they're going to vote for Romney. The question, if they're undecided, is whether or not they're going to vote at all.
White American males. What's the Romney
White American
lead?
males solidly with Romney. The thing is, are there enough of them? We're speculating, that in 2008, the white vote total was 74% of the total vote. We're speculating this year it could be 70 or 71% of the total vote. Romney's going to have to do a whole lot better than McCain did among white males.
Latinos.
Latinos right now, the president leads handsomely. He has in the mid-50s, he got 67% last time, but just as after the Republican convention, certainly no movement among Latinos for Romney. The question is getting them out to vote. This convention could be a start for the president.
Are we saying then, when you're looking at Election Day, look at the turnout, and if it's big, that helps the Democrats. If it's not, it helps the Republicans?
That's precisely it, because if it's big, it means all of Obama's groups, or the key groups that he needs, have turned out to vote.
Ben, anything you want to ask Jonathan?
I'm curious to know about if you ask women who they're going to vote for. I assume you do. How do women break down?
No, he doesn't ask women.
Yeah.
They don't need our opinion.
How do you? And what I really want to know is, if they say they favor Obama, why is it they favor him?
It's the marriage gap that's so important. Married women traditionally have been supporting Republican candidates. They've been wavering a bit. The contraception issue at one point had Obama leading among married women. That's not good for Romney. Among single women, huge trump card for Obama. The issue is not simply contraception and social issues, as Sandra Fluke mainly discussed tonight, but the economy. There are single women, among younger women in particular, who are having a very difficult time finding a job, finding a career.
What happens in the booth? We read all the time that Obama is very popular as a person, while a lot of people disagree with his issues. What does popularity mean when they go in the booth?
It means at the very least that they can bond with him, something that voters had not been able to do with Mitt Romney until arguably his speech last week. Romney still has some bonding problems. The president does pick up some support on the basis of being likable.
What are you seeing now with regard to turnout? Are you predicting anything, or is it too early?
It's too early. We've got to see how this convention plays out. As Ben pointed out, Bill Clinton certainly hit a home run. By the same token, if you look at the network numbers, 15, 17 million people watching total this convention. And so the issue is, how does this play out over the next few days? How many people watch the president? What are those unemployment numbers going to look like on Friday? That could drown out everything that Bill Clinton and the president have talked about.
And how important is Obama's speech tomorrow?
It's extremely important. However, he can get a 1-2 punch if he's got, a decline in unemployment and he hits a home run. He's likely to hit a home run to tomorrow night. He does very well.
Is he going to top Clinton?
I don't think anybody can top Bill Clinton, frankly. That's not a polling issue. That's the way it is.
Thanks, Jonathan. Hope you're with us again tomorrow. Jonathan Zogby, founder of the famed Zogby poll. Let's go over to David Begnaud.